Mojiva, which is a mobile ad network, and Motion Mobile, which is a mobile ad serving technology company. And we'll talk about why these two companies, mobile internet users will eclipse the desktop internet users in just a couple of years. Just a phenomenal trajectory here of how people are using these devices. So this slide actually represents a huge opportunity for several groups of the ecosystem. As a mobile content publisher, there's a lot of eyeballs that could potentially view your content. So the race to build, either on Android or iPhone or whatever device or platform you want to build for, but there's a lot of eyeballs that could potentially be your readers, your customers. As a marketer, there's a lot of people that you could market to. So billions and billions of people in the future could be accessing and hopefully doing transactions with your product or service through these devices. So huge opportunity. What we see at Mojiva is a massive problem, and a massive problem to solve. There is a huge fragmentation among the ecosystem. So many publishers, so many devices, so many wants and needs of marketers. None of them are really met efficiently in the mobile ecosystem. So the reason for Mojiva and Motion Mobile to exist is to try to solve this problem. One of the big problems is for those that have mobile content. Not only do you need to build mobile websites or discuss the whole app building process, but once you do, how do you monetize that? Most of the apps out there, as John just pointed out, are ad supported. There's not that many paid apps. Those that are paid aren't, the price per app download is not what it was expected to be. If the apps exist in 5 or 6 or 7 years due to HTML5 and other technologies down the road that make the browsing experience equal to or better than the apps today, nobody really knows. The reality is that most mobile publishers aren't selling what they've done in terms of content building. So, how do you justify building better content for your mobile experience if you can't actually monetize it? So that's a big problem we have to solve at Mojiva. Targeting is a way that the advertising community usually justifies advertising spend against any consumer, whether it's digital or print or now mobile. This was lacking when Mojiva was launched 2 years ago. We saw a huge opportunity. We could build a really good technology to allow marketers to reach the consumers, eliminate the waste by targeting specific things like geography, location-based down to longitude and latitude, certain content type, keyword-based contextual matching of what they're browsing at that particular moment with what the relevant ad is to serve at that particular instance. Then we've solved a big problem for marketers. A couple quick channels that we represent thousands and thousands of mobile websites and apps on all kinds of devices. We're agnostic. We serve on every device in 200 countries. Billions, about 3 billion ads a month at this particular moment on the network. We have some deep analytics, which is incredibly important and has been lacking in the entire mobile infrastructure. People have been spending, marketers have been spending money online, but they really don't know what those dollars are doing. So our goal is to give intelligence back to the ad spender to make sure they know not only where their ad dollars are working, who's converting, but why are they converting, what's driving to convert, and give them intelligence to optimize going forward. BlackBerry, iPhone apps, all kinds of devices. We're very bullish on the whole tablet market. We just announced 2 days ago that we're partnering with BlackBerry for the new app environment, especially in the new Playbook. I'm very excited about that. We also have just done a partnership with Intel. They have a new App Up Center coming out. The difference here is it's not just another app center out there, but this is a chip company getting into the advertising game for the first time. Very exciting for us. Starting with 50 million netbooks, all these different Intel Atom-powered netbooks, moving into several tablet devices and onto Windows smartphones in 2011. To us, it provides a bigger screen, a better opportunity for marketers to do rich media displays of advertising. Previously, they were confined to the small screen. It was tough to do anything creatively as a marketer. These big screens give them really good opportunities to tell the story in a different way. So we're very excited about this Intel partnership. Again, the footprint to start with is 50 million netbooks, expected to be 150 million in a year and a half. This is a big, big footprint compared out to iPhones that are out there getting all the press. These are big footprints with big screens. This is a Boxy, which is one of the Intel app 10-inch screen, On the bottom right, there's a video that projects, expands out, music, sound, the whole 9 yards. Some page takeover ads, which I can't show you on this PC, unfortunately. So that was Mojiva. The other company that is connected to Mojiva is called Motion Mobile. And Motion Mobile is the ad serving, campaign management, optimization technology backend to try to help publishers monetize their own advertising if they have a sales team. Hopefully guys like Time would consider using Motion Mobile to help their sales team do inventory forecasting, manage what they've got, sell and maximize all their inventory. Things like geo-targeting, easy for us as Mojiva, the ad network, to do, very difficult for a publishing company to figure out how to sell advertising based upon geography, how to do day parting, things that are very difficult from an ad sales team, but can certainly monetize and drive higher CPMs for the page views that you've got. We also do network mediation, which is Motion Mobile pulls in about 20 other ad networks at this point, other sources of ad inventory, so that at any given moment, any ad call on a mobile website or an app has the ability to derive the highest value cost per thousand ad, and we'll serve that automatically and monetize the
to walk you through kind of what goes through the minds of our customers when they sit down with us for the first time, or after involved with carriers and OEMs because they have some sponsorship. Verizon signs an agreement with Indy to power the Indy car services, so they asked us to build it. Or they'll get involved when they actually have a, they want to relaunch a new service like the Rent People for the World Cup. So that's typically what it is. It's very sponsor-oriented, sponsor-driven. Outside of that, we get involved with them in looking at billing strategies and how we can offer billing, and I'll talk more about that momentarily. The broadcast networks, the CBSs and the NBCs, these folks have gathered content not just from their own editorial teams, but from lots of different sources. Those services are typically very complicated, where we got to put together a large number of feeds and components and sources of information to services for them. Sports leagues come with a richer content, so be it live streaming, audio streaming, and player photos, and they come with a lot of rules and regulations in terms of what can be shared and not shared, and so we have to think through those things with the clients when we work with them. Our news customers are very much around personalization. Editorial teams will write about specific stories that take place on an ongoing basis, on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. But if you can't track those stories that matter to you, then it's not as effective. And so our news clients typically look to us for the personalization pieces. And the entertainment people are a mixture. Some of them are looking at us to help market new shows and services, and others have, like the Viacom folks, have a very, very rich, mobile strategy that offers lots of different content and experiences. And so I just wrote down a handful of thoughts that I thought I would share with you in terms of things that go through our minds as a scoreboard. And so first and foremost, we say mobile web is 10 and applications are 1. It's typical that we see a 10-to-1 ratio of the mobile web traffic that comes across our services versus the same applications. And if you look at our best performing applications, the numbers still hold true. And so I think everyone is saying it, you have to have a strategy that looks to everything across all the different devices that are coming out. Now it is true that you can almost reverse those numbers in terms of revenue. There's a tremendous amount of excitement around applications and iPads, and so from a monetization perspective, we see probably 10 times, maybe it's not quite that high, 10 times more revenue coming right now, but the excitement will die. And I think you heard from John, I think you heard from everyone that that's where traffic will come from. Personalization matters. I can't stress this enough. We see time and time again, if you can target very specific, as opposed to advertising, very specific content to people and stories they want to follow, athletes they want to follow, teams they want to follow, they'll continue to come back and go to those destinations. And so we think it matters a lot. It's inherent in the platform that we bring to the market. And then the second point I want to bring up here is grow your customer base. If you are measuring the number of uniques that come to your service, then you're not running a business. That's our philosophy. You should know who comes to your services, where did they go, where did they spend their time. You need a platform that will get you there. One of my favorite things to say to customers, especially those who may have 10 million uniques on their network in the course of a year, I'll ask them, can you reach one of them? Do you know where they like to spend their time? If your infrastructure is not prepared for that, then you're really not growing a business, because those folks can leave, you can't reach them again. This next point, I see a lot of these as I travel around and I'll go to my clients or prospects' offices, and I'll see a stack of presentations and proposals, and most of them are beautiful. They're beautiful designs and all these conceptual things that can be done in the form of an. That's not to say there's some great designs out there and some point applications that do very, very well. But when we think about it, and we sit down with our customers, you have to understand the business, you have to understand their fan base and what they're trying to accomplish. You have to understand where they go. And we recently launched an iPad application for CBS Sports. It's doing very, very well. It took 6 months of design work to build it, and it started with, what does a fantasy football fan care most about, on top of what can our platform actually deploy, and then how do I monetize that across all the CBS properties? How do I track what these folks are doing? How do I accurately analyze that information, and how do I make sure I'm delivering what customers want? So it's a good looking app as well, but it wasn't the heart of how and why we built that service. Yeah, just some points that I have up there. Just a couple more points. Monetization service in multiple different ways. It's interesting how when we sit down with companies as well, and they'll start talking about what they want to build, what the mobile's going to look like, or where it's going to go, and they haven't thought about how it's going to be monetized. Is it a marketing spin? Are they going to, look for a sponsor and those types of things? And so here's what we've learned. First and foremost, get your ad sales people, the linear folks, the .com folks, get them on board. Show them different experiences. Get them selling, because the lion's share of our most successful customers do it through selling through their own in-house ad sales teams. Nothing against ad networks, but that's what we're seeing. Much higher premiums when they go off and sell. Get them ready, get them on board, and get them to help you monetize the services. Then look for your ad networks and your ad network partners to help you, especially if those are out creating rich media content, rich media advertisements. Those have very, very high CPMs. Look for those to come in and fill room in if your ad sales people aren't. And then the third thing we're starting to see more and more, we see a lot of it outside of the U.S., but we're starting to see it here as well, as this freemium model, where once you have this space, start to package premium content. Premium content can be live audio streams, a live audio broadcast, live video. It can be packages of mobile content, video clips and experiences, and look for new ways to sell that, either through subscription, either that through payment gateways, or even through carriers, some of the other things that are going on in the market. Obviously, to do that, you can do it through in-app purchases in the app stores today, or again, you can look at these kind of proven secure payment gateways that are showing up on mobile web. Video consumption continues to rise, and so I think everybody knows this. I want to just point one thing out. This season, as we launch a series of services for the NFL and for others, sports leagues, we're seeing audio become a very big part of these experiences. Where broadcast rights are being controlled or restricted to in-stadium type of broadcasts, like in the form of replays. Most of the carriers who signed those deals did not block out the audio component, and so you can look to see more and more audio services. Again, I'm speaking largely around sports, but it's a big trend for us, and most of our major sports services have added an audio component, and be those audio clips or audio plays. And then the last point I want to bring up here is again, you've heard it before, is the number of devices and operating systems just continue to grow. We're going to be in the Motorola booth. I can't tell you how many devices they're going to announce at CTIA next week. There's quite a few coming. Last quarter, we certified 150 new devices on our platform. We're up around something like 7,000. I don't know what this coming quarter will look like with the new tablets that are coming out. My point here is, don't try to do this on your own. And so we have a number of customers who are building some of these services, are trying to go off into this and do some of these things themselves. Look for a company who has platforms, who can deliver mobile web, application, tablet support from one platform, allows you to monetize across all of those different analytics across all of those different platforms as well, and are going to keep you current with the new devices that are coming out into the market. So that's all I can say.